Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. Your daily fix of football chat is here. The main talking points tonight on the programme. David Moyes is the favourite for the Celtic job, but assistant John Collins says Ronny Deila will remain the Celtic manager even if they're knocked out of the Europa League. Gordon Strachan says there'll be no major changes to the Scotland squad. He was talking ahead of Scotland's under-21 match against Ukraine on Friday night at New St Mirren Park. And Mark Warburton says money will not be an issue if there is a player available who will add value to his squad. That's just a few of the talking points. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin, and I'm delighted that our boot-room guest is the St Mirren boss, Ian Murray. Let's go straight to David Moyes, sacked by Real Sociedad, didn't quite get to his first anniversary in charge, Ruffy. A lot of things maybe hampered his progress.
Yeah, I think as Ian will tell you, I think any manager coming into a job, you would expect to get more than a year. I know results, can go against you, but and looking at the results, I didn't think it was that bad. He had a fair ratio there of success, and again, it looks as if the fans have turned the board, and the board have acted very hastily.
I think the Las Palmas result maybe pushed them over the edge, but again, for a Scottish manager, for any manager to go into a foreign country, there are so many things that you need to adapt to. You need to embrace the language. You may well need to embrace, especially in Basque Country, the culture of that area as well in the north of Spain.
I think so. I think that was one of the big things. That the language barrier was huge. I think I heard on the radio yesterday that was one of the main reasons. But I think you touched on a Scottish manager going in there. The two places you don't get time are Spain and Italy. They will cut you as quick as they hire you, regardless of who you are. They need results and they want them quick, and if you don't get them, they just get rid of you.
Yeah, and such is the nature of football these days, Ruffy. No sooner has he been billeted from one place than the bookies have him as the clear favourite for the Celtic job. Now, that's harsh to say the least on Ronny Deila, who's still got a job to do there.
Yeah, he certainly has. I'm sure David Moyes, the man that he is, would come out and be sensible about that statement. There's still a manager there just now, but let's not forget he was a main candidate the last time it was up. We all thought he needed to go away and come back again, but it'd be an interesting one to get his views on it, but I'm sure he wouldn't give his views out while there's still a manager there.
Yeah, it's a strange situation, Ian, because the Celtic manager finds himself under tremendous pressure while still going for a domestic treble, but the judgment seems to be coming in Europe.
Yeah, I think he is under pressure in terms of people talking about it. Be a bit unjust probably because they're sitting top of the league. They're still in the League Cup. They're still in Europa League. They've still got a chance. I think it's really harsh to be November and speaking about it because, as I say, he has still got that opportunity to get the team through at the next round, and he's still got a chance, as you say, the domestic treble. So you could be sitting here in 3-4 months and hailing how good he is.
Yeah, and just to put that to bed once and for all, Ruffy, I'm going to suggest to you right now that the likes of a David Moyes, a Paul Lambert, maybe even a Malky Mackay, I think definitely 2 out of the 3 of those aforementioned names think they are still easily candidates for a big job down south, and I don't think they're at, and forgive me for this, but I don't think they're at Celtic's level.
No, well, obviously they've been down in England for a long time now, and I think you speak to anybody, you want to be part of the Premiership. They're all in the belief that they are good enough to hang about until that Premiership job comes along, but there is only so long you can be out of the game. You want to be in. So I think as time went on, it would remain to be seen where they got a club, because certainly with the Celtic job, it's not come up yet, but if it was to come up, I'm sure they would show some kind of interest. Yeah,
who'd be a manager? Well, how difficult has it been, your second club?
It's been tough. It's been a really tough start for us all. We've went into a club at the low ebb at the time, which has been taken apart in terms of relegation financially and in terms of personnel. We've changed personnel again to try and kick-start things a little bit. But the results, of course, have not been where we wanted to be, or they've certainly not been as good as we want to be. But we're bedding in a lot of young kids at the same time. It's very difficult to get them game time, and people go on about young players needing 50 to 100 games to establish themselves. We'll be lucky if we've got that between the 6 or 7 of them. So it is going to take time, but there's no doubt we need to pick up results and try and challenge for that 4th spot.
Yeah, we encountered you early on in the season after the Rangers game, and you were, confident, almost defiant to the point you'd be there or thereabouts. Has there been a kind of a wake-up call for you in what you've had to encounter at St Mirren?
Yeah, there's no question. I think we looked at it in terms of squad players within the squad that we felt were good enough, but when it's come to crunch against quality teams, experienced sides in particular, we found it very difficult. I think when you look at the top three teams of Rangers, Hibs and Falkirk, Rangers and Hibs have got the quality, there's no question about that, and Falkirk have the consistency and experience of this league. So it's no secret that these three are, at the moment, seem to be the three top, and then after that you've got everyone else who can go and beat anyone. But certainly we've definitely felt that the young players need more time. They certainly need more time with no pressure on them. But unfortunately, it's like any job in walk of life, you don't always get that time. So, as I say, we need to pick results up.
Have you noticed, Ian, since you went in to St Mirren, that everybody talks about resources, everybody talks about budgets at clubs? Is it more noticeable now that you're in there with bigger teams, the budget that you've got and the budget that they've got? And do you think fans should maybe try and realise how difficult it is for teams like St Mirren?
Yeah, I think, even myself, because it's been an eye-opener for me as well in terms of budgets and in terms of how things are done. So, we're all in the same boat ourselves. You're Queen of the South and Raith Rovers. That's why we're probably so inconsistent, every one of us, and everybody can beat everyone. So the budget is it's not the sole reason, because you work within your constraints and you know your budget when you go in. So it's not an excuse, but it's certainly, perhaps we don't run to the budget that people perceive we run to, but likewise, Raith Rovers, Queen of the South, Livingston's will be in exactly the same boat. They'll not be running to budgets that people think they are.
Yeah, you mentioned, Ian, that you'd made changes. Alec Miller comes in, and immediately the reaction is he's after your job. Did you expect that, or are you angry at the mere suggestion?
No, I'm not. I wouldn't say I was angry about it. If we told the actual events of what happened, people would think we're making it up. It was literally, I phoned Alex Miller on the Monday at 3 o'clock, met him at 3:45, we agreed it by 10 o'clock. That's how quickly it happened. We started on Tuesday, and there was no contact between myself and Alec prior to that phone call.
What, was he in your head at the time?
Yeah. We had a look, and we had a list of people that we thought could possibly come in and do the job, but then you've got to take other factors into it as well. Are they prepared to come in? Are they interested in coming in? Is it financially right for them? Do they have the time? Do they based up here? Can they go to games at night? Do they have a young family? So all these things came into our thinking, and Alec's pedigree and experience was top of the list by a long way, and he was interested in coming in.
And what will he bring that you need?
Well, he's worked with the top players, down south. He's done all that. He's worked with the national side with Craig Brown for a number of years. He's been a manager himself. He's been a assistant manager to a young player, Gordon Strachan, down at Coventry. So he's got all these different variables and experiences that he's done, and I think his demands on players will be very, very high. He's demanded of a team that won the Champions League, so if he can demand what he wants of them, he'll certainly be able to demand what he wants of our guys.
You said you don't have a lot of, football never and very rarely gives you time. You played Rangers, Hibs and Falkirk over the last 3 games. Do you still feel you've got a squad that could maybe make that move to the 4th position because there's much of a muchness below them?
Yeah, there's no question. We feel we're still very confident we can get there. There's no question we have to pick results up. We keep going back to that. But when we look at the league table, we look at ourselves and say we've not played well. We've not picked up enough points, but we're only 11 off it. And we've got to play all these teams 3 more times. We've had the top 3 in the last 3 games, so we've got them out of the way. But these next sort of 7, 8 games for us against the teams there or thereabout us will be huge for us. But if we can go on a run 4 or 5 in a row, and we get Christmas time for maybe a couple of points either side of it, above them or below them, then we'll have a good chance. Yeah,
you loved an Edinburgh derby in your day, but I suppose you need Morton like a hole in the head.
Well, these are the funny ones that kickstart your season sometimes. We went down to Morton last time and we had to play well. We got a man sent off, so we defended really well. But I think we'll see a team a week on Friday that will certainly be ready for the game. There's no question for that. The players, and all credit to them, their confidence has never been dented in terms of wanting to go and play. And it might dip at times in games, but actually at the start of the 90 minutes, there's not a player that shied away.
Yeah, I mean, we've watched time and time again, Ruff, when we've seen the table, it's cutthroat from about 4th downwards to, 8th, 9th.
Yeah, it's cutthroat, but as Ian said there, I think there's a much about them all the teams, and it's amazing you keep saying you just need that wee break, you just need that ball in the area just to bounce your way, and it bounces to one of your players. I thought last year in particular, St Mirren never got that at all, but it's amazing how as Ian said, 1 or 2 games can turn it around for you.
Yep, Morton and Wraith on the horizon. We'll get more from Ian Murray, the St Mirren manager, on his hopes for the Buddies. Also, in the next part of the programme, we will hear from Gordon Strachan. We'll also hear from Rangers manager Mark Warburton, and we'll also talk about Robert Snodgrass and Johan Cruyff. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. Alan Ruff is alongside me. Peter Martin, our bootroom guest, is St Mirren boss Ian Murray. Gordon Strachan's been speaking today ahead of Scotland's under-21 match against Ukraine at New St Mirren Park on Friday night. Of course, Strachan is going to go in to the backroom team and allow Ricky Spragia the chance to get the boys ready, and Strachan will no doubt offer his words of wisdom. He was offering a few today on the future for the A squad, and age will be no barrier, and certainly he doesn't envisage too many changes to the squad.
I've not got a problem with age, whether it's 17 or 37, I have no problem. The criteria is you have to be able to pass the ball, football intelligence, want to come here and give yourself up for the team, and work hard. So if you've got all that, then you're in with it.
No surprise that he would mention age is no barrier. I mean, I think he played till he was about 39, 40 easily. I like his attitude that it doesn't matter what age, young or old, if you can still do the job, if you still keep yourself in peak condition, Ruffy.
Yeah, well, it's the incentive for the under-21s, there's no doubt about that. Any of them going along now with him there and watching what they're doing will be an incentive to try and impress him, to even get a chance in the squad. But I think that, as he said there, the squad is pretty settled. There's no doubt about that. And so any young guy, going into the game will be trying to force himself into that squad. And I think he will, even taking a couple of them just along, to experience what it's like with the full squad. So they've all got something to play for. Yeah,
the problem is, Ian, we don't have, and Gordon mentioned it today, we don't have 2 or 3 waiting in the wings that we think are going to be absolute stars, and we don't even have a Bale or a Lewandowski that we could build the team around.
No, I don't think there's anybody at the moment in the 21s who we can say he's got a chance of being top class. There's obviously guys in there with huge potential, but at what level we don't know yet. The good thing is that obviously Gordon going along is it gives the guys in the squad this week a massive incentive. When you hear the manager saying that age is no issue, it gives everybody a little bit of lift in training, and it'll give them a lift for the game. They'll be thinking, if I can do well and catch the manager's eye, then I might get a chance further down the line. So incentives are there, and when the manager comes out and says it so publicly as well, it must be a huge boost for the young kids.
Yeah, you're probably better placed than anyone to talk about, hype, hysteria surrounding young players breaking into a side. You did it yourself. We, especially guilty of it in the media, look at a player like Ryan Gauld, Kieran Tierney at Celtic at the moment. We look at youngsters who maybe string 3 or 4 games together and think, here's the next big thing.
Yeah, I think we're in a totally different circumstances now. I was in a league with no disrespect to the young guys. Now I was in a league of men, and I was the boy in the league, or there was maybe 1 in each team. There wasn't 5 or 6. So I was going against guys who were 25, 26, played 200-300 games at a time. Now you might get a 19-year-old against a 20-year-old, and they've maybe not got 50 games between them, and suddenly he has a really good game. But when you go up the next level, it's very difficult. I think the only teams at the moment you can judge young players on is probably against Aberdeen and Celtic, because they are the most seasoned pros in the league, and they're the games you get judged on. The games against the other teams in the league, or certainly in our league, teams will come and watch you, but they'll always question, can you go that little bit higher? It's very hard to judge now.
Yeah, and with that in mind, just picking up on that point Ian made, Rocky, Gordon Strachan was saying today, if you want to be a top player, you have to prepare yourself to playing 55 to 60 games a season. There's no use moaning about games coming thick and fast. That's the level you need to play at.
Yeah, and you do, but I think Ian's touched on it. I think it's the experience of playing game on game. You know, as a young boy coming in, as Ian again said, it doesn't matter what level you're playing at. You know, you're always going to learn. You know, and if you can pick it up very quickly and you've got the confidence to play with playing well, playing against bigger players, better players, and you can handle it, mentally you get better very, very quickly the more games you play.
Yep. Okay, that's the Scotland setup. As far as other managers speaking today, Mark Warburton has been giving us his thoughts, of course, on recruiting players and trying to bring new players in. He said if there was a player that cost a 7-figure sum, if he could add value to the squad, it wouldn't be a problem.
You could buy a player for £1 million, it quickly becomes 5. You can buy a player at 850, 2 years later it's at 550. It's about trusting your judgment and getting your eye right, hopefully, and getting the right level of value for the club. So if it's near 7 figures and we think it represents value, we'll put it to the board, absolutely.
I think the Rangers fans would like to hear that. I'm not too sure whether there will be any great additions in the January transfer window for Rangers, Ruffy.
I would be surprised if there was a £1 million player come into Rangers in January. The way the finances are just now, he's already identified he can get loan players. He's got contacts down there. I would think it would be along their lines. You know, I think the time to spend £1 million would probably be once they're back in the SPFL. You know, and bringing that kind of calibre to the team. I personally don't think they need that just now to get to where they want to be.
Yeah, you've played against them, you've played against Hibs as well, and Falkirk. What do you make of the three of them who are in this race? I mean, Rangers and Hibs clearly the two horses, with Falkirk just a wee bit further behind them.
Yeah, I think you know, the top two's panned out as we probably thought it would. Rangers started incredibly well. They've been allowed to slip up against Hibs because they started so well. Hibs, on the other hand, have didn't start greatly, but they've certainly went on a fantastic run. I think they're both very evenly matched, to be brutally honest. I think, you know, you've still got to say Rangers are favourites because of the points difference at the moment, but it's still in Hibs' hands, and I think as long as it's in Hibs' hands, you know, they'll be happy with that. They'll be quietly confident of catching Rangers, but I think January is going to be a huge window this season for the Championship clubs. It's not so much now a case of last season where it was a window where you might bolster one or two to try and get the playoffs. This is potentially a title winning window which doesn't come around very often. I think both teams will definitely add. To what extent and what quality we don't know yet, but I think at the moment I think Hibs are really starting to gel together.
Yeah, and of the players that you've seen in all 2 or 3 clubs, is there one or two that have impressed you that maybe have even surprised you? I don't think John McGinn has surprised too many people at St Mirren, but certainly we've watched him earlier in the season. He's been a revelation in Hibs' side. Yeah,
he was excellent. He was excellent last Sunday. Easter Road against Rangers. He was the best player in the park by a country mile. You know, that was obvious for everybody to see. I think what he's got is he's got a great desire, and he's got a great work ethic as well. He works incredibly hard for the team, and he's also adds that with quality. He's going to have a dip, there's no question about that. He'll have a dip at some point in the season, but Hibs have probably got in that area of the park at the moment, certainly got the squad capable of handling that. But there's good players in most teams. You know, I'd say Falkirk are more of a team than the other two. I think they really work hard for the results and play off set plays and, you know, play to their strengths, which is, you know, credit to them as well because they're in a really tough league. Yeah,
and picking up on that point, Ruffy, I mean, suddenly, you know, we've already read over the last couple of days suggestions that the Rangers-Hibs games could be the determining factor, but as Ian pointed out, maybe it's recruitment that could be the determining factor.
Oh, I think it will be, you know, if you look at it, you know, but I'm looking at the Hibs team and I'm looking at the midfield players I've got, and difficult to see where he would strengthen there. Any manager will take a quality player if he's available, but certainly not. I still think the likes of Ian, that St Mirren, Falkirk will take points as the season goes on. It'll be difficult, but particularly at home, I think you would fancy Rangers or Hibs come and take something off them if you're playing well.
Yeah. 2 points before we finally get Ian's thoughts on the remainder of the season for St Mirren. Ruffy Roberts-Snodgrass back playing for Hull. It's been a long road back.
Yeah, it has. We had him in here, you know, and he was talking about the injury and as Ian will tell you, being out of the game for 18 months as a footballer is a large part of your life, and mentally you have to be strong. You have to believe that the injury that you've got, you can fight it and come back as good as. And I think the main thing is we all just want him to be back at the level he was at, because as a Scotland player he'll be a great asset. So yeah, let's hope everything goes well for him.
Yep, and another man I got to get your thoughts on, Ruffy, who's in my all-time world 11, Johan Cruyff, stage 1 of the road back, battling against cancer. He's now got another stage of the fight to go.
Yeah, he certainly has. A tremendous player. You would have thought with the advice that people were giving him about his health, he would have taken it, but he never. But like everybody out there who's a football fan, you like to see legends like that recovering.
Yeah, final word for you, Ian. Top 4, the ambition still?
Still is, yeah. Playoffs was our plan to start the season. It's not changed. As I said before, we're not where we want to be at this stage of the season, but we still feel confident that we will get that 4th position. The league's that tight. I mean, there's going to be ups and downs and roller coasters along the way, but we still feel we've got the quality.
Yeah, well, you'll know when we're right behind you is when Ruffy picks you in the treble at the weekend. The minute that happens, we know you're back on the road to success. Listen, great to have Ian Murray. Hopefully the St Mirren fans will see the tough job he's doing there, and at the end of it we wish him every success for the remainder of the season. From Ian Murray, the St Mirren manager, from Alan Rough and from myself, Peter Martin. Join us tomorrow on Peter and Ruffy's Football Show if you can. Good night.